Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's reshaping business operations across the Netherlands: enterprise AI agents and RAG systems, with a particular focus on how Den Haag businesses are navigating this transformation. Sam, thanks for joining me again.
Great to be here, Alex. You know, what's really striking about Den Haag right now is that it's not just adopting AI, it's doing so under this intense regulatory spotlight with the EU AI Act. These aren't theoretical discussions anymore. Companies are making real implementation decisions that could expose them to fines of up to $30 million if they get compliance wrong.
That's a sobering reality check right there. So let's set the stage. Den Haag has about 850,000 residents in the metro area, and it's home to government agencies, multinationals, and financial services firms. Why is this particular city becoming such a hub for AI adoption compared to the rest of the Netherlands?
Three big reasons. First, you've got institutional buyers, the Dutch government, ministries, regulatory bodies, all concentrated there. Second, the legal and financial services sectors are deeply embedded in The Hague. And third, the city's geographic proximity to Rotterdam's logistics ecosystem and Amsterdam's FinTech scene creates this perfect storm of demand for AI solutions that can handle complexity, multilingual data, and legacy system integration. The Netherlands Bureau for Economic Policy Analysis actually reported 34% year-over-year growth in the AI market in 2023, with Den Haag and Amsterdam capturing 62% of all enterprise AI spending in the Benelux region.
Wow, 62% is dominating the region. But I'm guessing that concentration also means the regulatory pressure is equally intense, right?
Exactly. The EU AI Act started enforcement phases in 2025, and it's not a suggestion. It's the law. Any high-risk AI system used in recruitment, financial services, law enforcement support, or public administration needs risk assessments, transparency documentation, and ongoing monitoring. Articles 8 through 15 are essentially non-negotiable for Den Haag enterprises. And here's the kicker. Organizations deploying these systems must maintain audit trails and ensure human oversight. It's not just a compliance checkbox. It fundamentally changes how you architect your AI systems.
So compliance isn't optional. It's table stakes for operating in this market. Now let's talk about what an AI agent actually is, because I think there's some confusion out there about how these differ from a regular chatbot.
Great clarification point. A traditional chatbot is reactive. You ask it a question, it finds an answer, and returns it. An AI agent is fundamentally different. It's an autonomous system that perceives its environment, makes decisions, and executes multi-step workflows to achieve specific goals. Think of a chatbot as a responder. Think of an agent as a doer. In Den Haag's context, this means an agent could autonomously handle customer onboarding in a bank, manage compliance documentation across government departments, or optimize supply chain decisions in real time.
That's a massive difference in capability. But with that autonomy comes risk, especially in regulated industries. How do organizations balance the efficiency gains with the governance requirements?
That's the million-euro question, and it's where RAG systems come in. Retrieval Augmented Generation. Think of RAG as the safety guardrail that keeps your AI agent grounded in factual organizational knowledge. Instead of having an agent make decisions based on its training data alone, RAG retrieves relevant documents, policies, or data from your knowledge base before the agent acts. For Dutch enterprises, this is critical because it creates an audit trail, ensures decisions reference actual company policies or EU regulations, and dramatically reduces hallucination, those moments when AI confidently invents information.
So RAG is essentially keeping the agent honest and transparent. In a financial services firm in Den Haag, how would this actually work in practice?
Perfect example. Imagine a customer applies for a mortgage. Instead of the agent making autonomous lending decisions without context, the RAG system retrieves the customer's full financial profile, relevant lending policies, current risk thresholds, and even recent regulatory guidance from the Dutch central bank. The agent then uses that retrieved context to make a recommendation, but critically, a human underwriter reviews that recommendation alongside the exact documents the system referenced. That human-in-the-loop approach satisfies the EU AI Act's transparency requirements, and you've got a complete audit trail showing why the decision was made. It's efficient and compliant.
I see. So the RAG system doesn't replace human judgment. It augments it while creating accountability. Now, McKinsey's 2024 State of AI report mentioned something that caught my eye. 55% of organizations globally have adopted AI in at least one business function, but only 22% have embedded AI governance frameworks. That's a huge gap.
It's enormous, and it's a red flag for Dutch enterprises specifically. Those 78% of organizations without governance frameworks are essentially walking into regulatory risk. In Den Haag, where you've got government agencies, regulated financial firms, and companies under intense scrutiny, that gap is untenable. An AI governance framework doesn't have to be bureaucratic. It's really about defining who owns AI decisions, how risks are assessed, what audit trails are maintained, and how you ensure compliance with EU AI Act requirements. It's foundational infrastructure.
What does a practical governance framework look like for, say, a mid-sized government institution in Den Haag?
Start with 3 layers. First, governance. Who has authority to approve AI deployments, what approval process looks like, and who's accountable? Second, technical architecture. Ensuring systems like RAG are properly integrated, that data flows are documented, and that AI agent actions are logged comprehensively. Third, ongoing monitoring, regular audits of AI system performance, bias testing, impact assessments as business contexts change, and rapid response protocols if something goes wrong. It's not overnight, but institutions that lock this in now gain competitive advantage and avoid the massive costs of remediation later.
So competitive advantage isn't just about being faster with AI. It's about being compliant and trusted. Let's talk about workflow automation, because I think that's where enterprises see immediate ROI. What kinds of workflows are Den Haag businesses automating with AI agents?
Government agencies are automating permit processing, citizen inquiry routing, and compliance reporting. Financial services firms are handling customer onboarding, KYC verification, and transaction monitoring at scale. And supply chain firms, especially those connected to Rotterdam's ports, are automating logistics coordination and shipment tracking. But here's the critical part. All of these workflows involve decisions that affect people or regulatory compliance. That's why RAG plus human oversight is non-negotiable. You can't just automate for speed. You automate for speed plus accountability.
That's a crucial distinction. Let me ask this. What does implementation look like for a company that's never built an AI governance framework or deployed agents before?
Phase 1 is assessment. Understand your high-risk AI use cases, map regulatory requirements, and audit your current data quality. Phase 2 is architecture. Design your AI agent and RAG system with compliance built in from day one, not bolted on later. EtherDev, for example, specializes in custom implementations that bake governance into the architecture rather than treating it as an afterthought. Phase 3 is pilots. Start with lower-stakes workflows, prove the model, gather data on bias and performance, then scale. And throughout, invest in your team's AI literacy, especially for audit and compliance roles.
So it's not a rip-and-replace situation. It's methodical and iterative. What's the biggest mistake you see organizations making when they start this journey?
Treating AI as a technology problem when it's actually a governance problem. Companies rush to deploy agents to save costs, neglect the compliance architecture, and then scramble when regulators ask for audit trails or when bias emerges. In Den Haag specifically, where you're operating under EU AI Act scrutiny, that approach is almost guaranteed to create liability. The organizations that win are those that treat governance and architecture as equal partners with capability. They move a bit slower initially, but they move with confidence.
That's wisdom right there. So as we wrap up, What's your key takeaway for Den Haag enterprises that are still on the fence about AI agents and RAG systems?
3 things. First, this isn't a wait-and-see moment. The regulatory environment is live now, and early movers with compliant governance gain competitive advantage. Second, AI agents and RAG systems aren't commodities. They need to be designed for your specific workflows and regulatory context. Third, invest in governance from day one. The cost of building it right up front is a fraction of the cost of retrofitting it later or paying regulatory fines. The opportunity is real, but it requires strategic thinking, not just technical enthusiasm.
Excellent perspective. Sam, thanks for breaking this down. And listeners, if you want the full deep dive on enterprise AI agents and RAG systems for Den Haag businesses, including specific use cases, implementation roadmaps, and EU AI Act compliance strategies, head over to etherlink.ai and find the complete article. You'll find detailed insights, case examples, and actionable frameworks that go well beyond what we covered today. Thanks for tuning in to EtherLink AI Insights.